1 week before my birthday, my 3 children slid a life agreement across the table. Their smiles were thin, practiced, the kind you give someone who's already lost. They thought I'd just sign. They thought I had no choice. What they didn't know was that I still own a 720-acre ranch, control $5 million in a hidden trust, and had a plan that would turn their cruelty back on them. The silver pen on the table gleamed like a weapon. The paper beneath it carried words colder than any blade. My eldest son spoke, voice steady but rehearsed. "Just sign it, Dad." The other 2 smiled, waiting for my hand to move. It was their idea of mercy. Strip me of decision-making. Tuck me in a corner, treat me like a relic too fragile to live free. They thought blood made me weak. But they had forgotten who raised them. I once lived for their laughter. I broke my back so they'd never know hunger. So tuition was paid without hesitation. So Christmas mornings shone with gifts. I was their shield, their constant. Somewhere along the way, they stopped seeing a father. They saw an obstacle. It began with whispers, questions about my health, sideways glances at the pills on the counter. Then it sharpened. Talk of simplifying my life, consolidating assets. And finally, the mask slipped. The agreement wasn't about love. It was about control. But the ranch deed was still in my name. The trust untouched. The weapon still mine. So I smiled back and signed nothing. That night, I walked the ranch alone. The wind cut through the pines, but clarity came sharp and clean. If they wanted war, I would give them something colder, justice. I opened the lockbox. Deeds, trusts, legal papers, my arsenal. I called the lawyer who owed me favors, the banker who still picked up my calls. Slowly, deliberately, I rewrote my will, layer by layer, until it became a puzzle only I could solve. And then I set the trap. The following Sunday, I invited them to dinner. The table was a feast, roast wine, candlelight. They came smiling, smug, certain I would finally bend. I let them eat. I let them laugh. Then I slid a stack of papers across the table. Their own weapon turned against them. "Since you're so eager about my affairs," I said, calm as stone, "I thought you want to know what's been decided." They leaned in. Their smiles faltered. The ranch, transferred into a charitable land trust in my name. Untouchable. The $5 million, reallocated to scholarships, veterans housing, food banks. Every cent out of their reach. The house, already willed to my sister, the aunt who never betrayed me. And for them, a modest stipend. Conditional. A leash, not a gift. I watched the blood drain from their faces. "You can't do this," my middle son whispered. "I already have," I answered. Silence fell heavier than the wine in their glasses. For the first time in years, they looked at me not as prey, but as a man they had underestimated. I saw anger, shame, fear, and beneath it all recognition. I stood, voice steady. "You came to me with greed. You'll leave with nothing but consequence. Remember that when you smile at me next." They left without dessert, without words, without the smugness they carried in. I sat alone at the table, candlelight flickering across the untouched cake, and for the first time in months, I exhaled without bitterness. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it signs papers in silence. Sometimes it waits, patient for betrayal to reveal itself. And when it strikes, it doesn't miss. I didn't need their approval. I didn't need their love. What I needed was peace. And peace came the moment I watched their smiles die. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who would love it too.